Welcome to the PharmaSource podcast.
Today, we're joined by two leaders from Novartis who sit at different ends of the contract manufacturing value chain, one driving commercial strategy across key global markets, the other leading operational excellence at one of their critical manufacturing sites. Isabel Feuerstein serves as Head of Business Development for EU and Asia CMO at Novartis, where she shapes the company's contract manufacturing strategy. And Mark Schiefermeier leads the manufacturing unit at DS Schaftenau, one of Novartis's key drug substance manufacturing facilities in Austria. Mark oversees the technical execution and quality systems that underpin Novartis's external manufacturing commitments. Together, they've joined me today to discuss how Novartis is positioning itself for the future, from partnership models and digital integration to sustainability commitments and navigating geopolitical complexity. Isabel, Mark, thank you for joining me. So I understand you actually have known each other for quite some time. Instead of starting this podcast with, the typical marketing position, I actually want to go back to your roots. So when you were both focused on protein analysis, side chains and impurities, how has that shared technical background influenced the way you work together today?
Mark was even there before I joined Novartis back at that time. But I think what stayed with us, or what stayed with me, is this technical knowledge about how we look into molecules. And back at that time, when we analyzed and characterized proteins, we looked really in the depth. And it was a sort of putting puzzle pieces together. So it means we understand the complexity, and we also understand our clients' thoughts about their own products, right? They know the complexity, and I think we acknowledge that. And especially for me, as being part now of BD, having a complete different role, right? I share this complexity. I know what it means, right? And I try to understand where the client comes from. And before we step into a very deep discussion together with the technical team, I discuss it together with Mark and share a little bit the concerns of the client around that part before we really jump in discussion with the client, so we can prepare ourselves and take it from there. So me as a BD person offshore, clearly, my goal is to conclude very fast, but I don't want to oversimplify things, right? I also don't want to overpromise. I really want to listen to the client, and there, I think it also helps me with this technical background, and also the trust I have with our technical team to push this into the right direction.
Thanks for pointing out that I'm a little bit older. Now, however, I think it's very important in our cooperation that we speak the same language and that we have the same understanding. And I think this makes it really smooth for us, but also for the client to go into negotiations, to understand the needs and to solve problems.
Yeah, definitely. And so, Mark, how important is it for you to have a BD counterpart like Isabel with her technological background? Does it make a difference in practice having that technological background?
Yeah, it makes a big difference. Isabel very quick catches up, and by that you can avoid in a partnership with an external partner to have endless forth and back discussions, because she really understands very quickly where is a problem, how you can solve it, and how to tackle it. Yeah, it makes it really easier. On the other side, I cannot tell her things. Let's say she really understands very quick where we are. I think that's a big advantage and a big asset. And by the way, it's not only her. It's also a part of her team, or the bigger part of her team has really a very good technical background.
Let's jump to business then. The whole world is talking about AI and digitalization. As Novartis CMO, where are you focusing your technology and digital investments? What measurable outcomes are you actually aiming for? Maybe Mark, do you want to start?
Yes, I mean, this is now a topic which is covered everywhere. You can see it in the congresses. You can see it when or you can hear it when you speak with partner. At Novartis, we focus on three elements. The one is vertical integration, which means that really our systems have to communicate to each other and that we can leverage the whole data pool that we have. The second part, which is clearly working with this vertical integration, is AI. Yeah. And the third part is robotics. We look really a lot into automation and robotics to standardize our processes. especially with the third part. For us, it's important that we look at the whole value chain. It is about, of course, to be efficient, to be cost efficient, but on the other side, it also goes hand in hand with quality to reduce human error and deliver the highest quality.
Do you have anything to add to that, Isabel?
I think overall the approach is pragmatic. We don't want to digitalize or use AI just because of the sake of digitalization, right? I think the overall concept is to look into it, right? For sure we go this path, but we also want to make sure that we make use of it and it gives us a value for us and also for the client.
Not using AI just for the sake of being able to say it in your sort of marketing presentations, but considering how it can actually help customers. So let's talk about project visibility and integrated data systems. Sponsors are increasingly expecting this. Walk us through your approach to data integration and transparency, from that initial engagement through the whole journey to commercial manufacturing. What technologies are enabling this and where do you see the biggest maybe opportunities for improvement in the sector?
From a partnership perspective, transparency is very, I think it's a must, right? And it builds on trust. I think transparency means not only on data transparency, it means also transparency on different levels. I think what changed in the past is being a pure CMO. It's not only being a pure CMO or a pure supplier. It's more than just supplying some products. It's more about a partnership these days, and it's transparency on data. It's also transparency on available capacity. So I'm not sure if this is all about digitalization, but I think it's how we partner and how we share data and how we share our way of working.
Yeah, I mean, clients get access to our data. This is a must, and they have to understand what is going on, and they can view and watch the processes. Yeah, what they of course cannot steer and control. This is clear because this is in our responsibility. And to give this transparency is very important from the beginning of a partnership until the end. On the other hand, you also have to be sure that they can handle the information and interpret it in the right way. And this we also support, of course.
So can you give us an example of that in action?
I had a week at DCAT New York, meeting a lot of our customers and potential new customers. Their concerns are we able to scale process, how we would deal with uncertainties around clinical programs. We all know that demand projections of clinical programs are never true, right? So how we would deal with that and how we would minimize the risk on our clients and our risk, right? So it all comes, what are the different approaches to share risk and to minimize risk, and maybe also reduce costs during critical phase and aim for success, right? So I think there are all different ways how to approach it and how to come into action. I think transparency, as I said before, it's not only about data, it's also about transparency, how we handle clients and how flexible we are.
Let's switch gears a little bit, because it's something I find really interesting is companies like Novartis, where you're known for your own blockbuster products and high standards, but you also have this CMO business. How easy or how challenging is it to balance the company's, internal focus with then serving its external clients?
I can start, right? I have to admit I think there's none of the clients or none of potential clients. One of the first questions are these questions, right? How Novartis would handle internal programs versus external programs. And I have to say these objections are on both sides, internally and externally. We as Novartis, we build our standards since years, right? And we are proud of those standards and the discipline behind. And we don't want to compromise that, right? But I think serving external clients also mean being open to that, what customer needs and how they want to work, because at the end of the day, it's their program and it's their priority, right? And actually, clients expect us to challenge them. And we do, right? And we also, when we see a risk on scalability, on their control strategy and supply reliability, we will challenge them and we will discuss it. But it's how you do it, right? We would always come with facts. We would always come with options or solutions or a clear rationale. But I think it's always how we do it. It's not about to say this is always this is what we always did, right? I think there is a thin line between being a strong partner and coming across a little bit arrogant, because there's no right or wrong. We might have an approach how to do certain things, and Novartis, we don't claim that the Novartis way is the way. So at the end, we focus on how to co-create the best solution for our clients and protect what we must protect. And we try to flex where we can. I don't know, Mark, how you see it.
Quite similar. I would phrase it just a little bit different. I mean, the Novartis standards are not debatable. Yeah, this is a must. But usually that's not the issue. Yeah, I mean the companies follow different strategies to achieve the same goal, and sometimes ways are a little bit different. Yeah, and you can learn from each other and you can grow together. Yeah, we don't treat projects others than own products. Yeah. The only thing what we have to take care is that we harmonize the way what we are doing and that we achieve a common goal. And as Isabel said, from time to time, clients learn from us. From time to time, we get a different angle and deal then with their projects and also with our projects in a slightly different way. Yeah. So I think this is a fruitful cooperation.
Let's talk about cost pressures then, moving on a little bit. You know, they're very real for everyone in biologics manufacturing. How do you balance showcasing innovation with demonstrating practical cost effectiveness? Mark, let's start with you.
Cost effectiveness is, as you said, it's very important. Yeah, it's important for the company, but it's also important for the customer, and it's important for the patient, because in the end we want to bring the medication to the patient. And this is also a matter of the production costs. Yeah. When we do innovation projects, we have several steps where we challenge the project if this is also cost efficient. But we do this already at the very beginning. Yeah, not to run into techniques and innovations which don't deliver on the cost side and which maybe don't deliver on the quality side. Yeah, so there are different gates where we challenge that, and of course it's in our DNA in production.
Let's move on again then. Sponsors are under pressure to reduce Scope 3 emissions, making CDMO environmental performance a selection criteria. Beyond general commitments, what specific actions has Novartis taken to reduce environmental impact? You know, how do you measure and report sustainability metrics to clients?
Recently, we're very proud of that we switched from gas to electrical energy, and that we are going into the direction of being completely CO2 neutral. We have a lot of projects running which tackle reducing energy consumption, which tackle reducing water consumption. It's not an easy task, but we are always on it. And with every innovation and with every new technique, we also evaluate in this direction.
And I think in the past, Novartis has always been one of the top ranked pharma companies in this area. So, and Novartis always publish the report on sustainability on an annual basis. So I think everybody can have access to it. I think our goals are very transparent, and I think every site, every manufacturing site in our network has its own objectives. And so how Mark explained, right? So also Schaftenau has.
I actually had a conversation with one of your colleagues from the pharma side at CPHI last year. He's an environmental sustainability lead. He was talking about Novartis, and yeah, it does really sound like you're doing a lot to sort of help bring up the whole sort of industry and help everybody else on their journey that maybe doesn't quite have the means so much as Novartis. And his sort of business model for it was quite interesting. All the cost savings that he attributed funneled back around into helping kind of push that greener sort of motive on, which I thought was interesting.
And maybe to add to that, I think there's always a very important discussion also with our clients, right? For them, it's also very important to hear what Novartis does, right? And I think here again, it's something where client can learn from us, but we also can learn from our clients. So in a way, it's a win-win situation.
And it's, you know, a collaborative approach to sustainability and ESG that's really going to help the industry move forward. Mark, tell us about Schaftenau's journey. How has that facility, that site developed, and where do you see it heading in the years to come?
Well, Schaftenau was growing in the last decade immensely. Yeah. So our major focus in drug substance is cell culture technology. We evolved from a small facility where we were producing only for clinical demand for the Novartis network. We have now really a wide variety from very early stage clinical development to high throughput commercial manufacturing. We can offer and deliver in all of these segments. We have end-to-end capabilities, which means that we have development on site. We have analytics in every direction where you can look. We have also a big footprint in drug product manufacturing, which means that we understand the process from the beginning to the end and all the requirements. Yeah, so it's really a big site with different opportunities and with the possibility to see the whole picture.
So, and what new technologies and capabilities are you investing in, and what does that mean for the kinds of partnerships you can support into the future?
The technology we look at going in the direction to have a most efficient process. Yeah. Meaning increasing throughput, reducing runtime, reducing, doing everything in the system. We focus very much on having our process online under control and reduce analytics outside, which reduces also then production time and increases efficiency of our instrumentation. Of course, there are different ways to operate systems like fat patch technology, continuous technologies, and -1 perfusion. We have the variety and execute all these different modes because it also depends, is it an old process, is it a new process? Yeah. So this is all on site, and as mentioned, we of course want to get better and better.
So Isabel, from a BD perspective then, how do these evolving capabilities and investments change the conversations you're having with potential clients?
As Mark said, Novartis invested in improving efficiency. That means also improving costs, right? And this is a big change for us. We can go in with very competitive prices, which is very relevant for a lot of companies, right, these days. So actually it changed quite a lot. And also Novartis investing in new technologies like N-1 perfusion, and also being capable to run next generation biologics, right? I think it's really also giving a sign to our customers that we constantly invest in new technology. We are constantly, and Novartis committed to it, right? Not only for their own programs, but also for potential clients' programs. So we are not standing still. We are moving on. We look into what's new, what's next. So that actually gives also the confidence to our clients that we will be always there and capable to run next generation biologics. So that actually helps us. And also with our recent announcement that we will invest in a variety of technologies in the US, also gives us the possibility to offer to our clients a network, a global network. These days, it's very important to have different supply points, not only rely on one supply point. So it's more important to have a supply point maybe in Asia, in Europe, and US. So that's exactly what we can offer. So we have a manufacturing network globally spread. So for all of our technologies, we can do it for biologics, aseptic filling in small molecules. So that's where I really see the strengths of Novartis, and also giving the commitment to our customers that we are there for them.
So really sort of building a really resilient global supply chain. Finally, then, if you were advising a biotech CEO on how to evaluate CDMOs in 2026, what criteria would you tell them really actually matter versus, what might sound good in marketing materials?
I think that pretty much resonates what we said, right? I think it's about prioritizing culture, quality, transparency, and the proven track record, how to scale up a process. And I would advise not to choose a CMO that will not just agree. I think I would pick a CMO who challenge with facts.
Mark, do you have anything to add?
First of all, we talked a lot about the innovation and so on. You also should look at the people, if the experience is there. And second, you should ask your selected CDMO if he has troubles and which kind of troubles, because if everything is shiny and they can speak about troubles that they have or challenges, you have to get suspicious.
Well, Isabel, Mark, thank you very much for the whistle-stop tour of Novartis' CMO business.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.